Researchers at Edinburgh University believe the lives of hundreds of stroke victims could be saved each year by using inflatable stockings. They squeeze the leg veins of people who've suffered a stroke, reducing the risk of them developing fatal blood clots. Professor Martin Dennis, who led the study, said the treatment might save as many as 1,500 lives a year in the UK.
About 1 in 5 people with a stroke who are immobile in hospital will get a deep vein thrombosis in their legs. And in the CLOTS 1 trial, which we completed about 4 or 5 years ago, we demonstrated in over 3,000 patients that the sort of flight sock type idea just didn't have any effect on the DVTs, and indeed they caused problems with the skin. However, these, which are actively squeezing the legs, do appear to reduce the risk of clots by at least a third, and somewhat to our surprise, but very pleasingly, we saw a reduction of 15% in the death rate in our patients.
Yvette Henderson, who had a stroke 3 years ago, took part in the trial.
It involved wearing these stocking things that I wear, compression bandages, all the time, day and night. Getting up and moving around, I was able to go to somebody's party, but I took them with me, I wore them, and I took the machine which runs off a battery. It was explained to me what was going to happen, and they've been extremely comfortable. I didn't find them uncomfortable at all.
I put it to Jan Bunkle of Chest, Heart and Stroke Scotland that these devices are lifesavers.
They are, definitely. It's a really simple technology, but it's very exciting because it has a potential to save a lot of lives. It's just a very simple, inflatable device which fits around the leg and fills with air every minute. They compress the legs and they force the blood back to the heart again. And it means that it just prevents the formation of deep vein thrombosis or blood clots in the legs, which have the potential to kill the patient when they're immobile.
So these are people who've had a stroke and they're getting this treatment in order to prevent them getting another one?
That's correct, yes. More than 6,000 people in Scotland could benefit from this treatment because it could prevent 300 of them from developing deep vein thrombosis. In other words, just squeezing the legs of stroke patients could potentially save more than 150 lives a year, which is fantastic news.
Do the authorities need to change perhaps the way that stroke is treated, taking into account these research findings?
These devices, it would be great if these devices were part of the SIGN guidelines, which insist on certain clinical guidelines for the treatment of strokes. And we'd certainly be supporting any push to include these in the SIGN guidelines if they are successful in a larger trial.
Just putting this in context with other developments,
Yes.
I mean, is it clear that you're advancing on many fronts when it comes to stroke?
Yes, there are some fantastically exciting research projects taking place at the moment. This one is particularly encouraging because it's basically quite low tech and it's cheap, it's very easy to implement in a hospital setting, and it has the potential to save lives of thousands of people across the UK and at least 150 people a year in Scotland.
That's Jan Bunkle of Chest, Heart and Stroke Scotland.